Blah, blah. Let's try again. Hey Milk Street, this is my new favorite cake. It's easy, it's flexible, you make it, you bake it, and you take it. I'm bringing it to every picnic I'm invited to. It's a French cake, it has a fancy French name, I have a terrible French accent, so I'll just let you know what's in it. There's yogurt, orange, and coriander, and once we make it, I'll show you where you can make some changes so you get the cake you want. It's a dump and stir, so we're gonna do dry, we're gonna do wet, we're gonna mix it together, we're gonna throw it in the oven. Let's start with the dry. We have 228 grams or 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, right into a medium bowl. You also wanna add a full tablespoon of toasted coriander. Toasted is really important because it sort of mellows out some of the more savory flavors of coriander, and this is a sweet cake, so that's nice. But here's where you can change it up. Step number 1. This could be cardamom. It could be dried lemongrass. You really can play with the spices here depending on what citrus you add later. You also want to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of table salt. And just whisk this really well so it's nice and even. If you don't whisk it evenly now and then add wet ingredients, you're gonna get a clump of coriander over here and salt over there. So you wanna make sure that this is just evenly distributed, everything's combined. And now we can move over to the wet ingredients. So first, the orange. Here's how you can customize it, number 2. Choose any other citrus, lime, you could do grapefruit, lemon, whatever, and then match that with your spice and have some fun. So you want 2 tablespoons of zest, whatever citrus you choose. I always zest right over the bowl, not onto a cutting board, so you don't lose any of the essential oils into the cutting board, because that's actually where all the flavor is. To that, we're going to add 3 eggs. Make sure that you don't get any shell in. That's not good. Little trick, because that happened, and I'm a teacher and I love to teach people things. If you get shell in here and it's not coming out, shell attracts shell, so you can actually use your eggshell to get any shell that dumped in there out really easily. So you have your 3 eggs, and then you have a full cup of sugar. And now you really do want to set a timer. This is a minute of whisking. It's a lot of time. But if you don't do this, your cake won't leaven correctly. All right, see what a difference that is? And the orange zest is evenly distributed. So that's beautiful. It's much lighter in color. It's much thicker. The orange zest is evenly distributed. That's perfect. We're gonna get nice rise in our cake. Now we wanna add in the star ingredient. 1/2 cup of whole milk yogurt. Not Greek style, you want some of the liquid. And then you also wanna add in 2 teaspoons, or if you're me, a full tablespoon of vanilla. It's an easy cake, it's forgiving. It's a good way to experiment and learn what you like. All right, now we're gonna whisk this just until it's evenly distributed. That yogurt is gonna add tang, so this is not just a sweet cake. At Milk Street, we really don't like sweets that are just sweet. We like things to have a little dimension, a little contrast. It makes it more interesting. So the orange zest is bitter and orangey and citrusy, but also that orange has tang, which is gonna cut through all the sweetness of a full cup of white sugar. Now we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of neutral oil. All right, so now in go the dry ingredients and gently whisk it together. And you want there to still be some flour streaks. You don't need to fully whisk this. All right, now I am gonna use the handy dandy little pour spout on here. It's a pretty liquidy batter, don't worry. This is going into a regular loaf pan that I've greased and floured, which will help it release later. Okay, now the recipe doesn't call for this, so pay attention. It does call for sprinkling the top with sugar. What I like to do is take some of the coriander I had before and add it to the sugar so I get a second level of spice. Or you could introduce a second spice here. This could be cardamom on top and coriander inside. I just think it's really nice to have that sort of toasted, crunchier spice on the outside and then a more mellow spice on the inside. And you put 2 teaspoons of this on top, which is actually a fair amount, so don't be shy. This adds this great little crunch on the top that your teeth sort of have to bite through and it dissolves. And again, it just makes the cake a little more fun to eat than something that's same. All right, in the oven for 40 or 45 minutes until a skewer comes out with a few crumbs still attached. It then cools for an hour and a half, which is when it will finish sort of tightening up and get that moist but fully cooked crumb that we're looking for. There we go. All right, granted, it does take more time than picking up some cookies from the grocery store and bringing them to the picnic. But a homemade cake is a great thing, so spend the time. It was only 15 minutes of active time. And then you have this beautiful toasty brown little buddy here, and it's got this nice crackly top. You can see some of the orange zest. And I'm gonna cut into it, but I would bring it whole and pack a little knife to a picnic. But let's see what it looks like. I like to serve this cake plain with macerated berries. I also think it would be great if you took a slice and fried it in some brown butter. That would be delicious. But look at that beautiful, dense crumb, not dry at all. You can see all the orange zest. It could be green if you'd chosen lime, or pink if you had chosen grapefruit. But it's perfect. Totally portable, stays moist, a wonderful thing to celebrate spring with your friends.